Welcome to Resolve in a Rush, where you'll learn useful Resolve tips and tricks in under 5 minutes. In this episode, we're going to make a comic book style frame wipe. The first thing I'm going to do is duplicate this clip by selecting it, and then holding down the Option or Alt key and dragging it up to the next track. Then I'll trim the ends of the duplicate clip to the duration that I want. Now I'll go to the color page. With the duplicate clip selected, I'll press Option S or Alt S a couple of times to create 2 serial nodes. Then I'll open the effects library and search for the grid effect. I'll drop the grid effect onto the first node. Then I'll adjust the number of lines and turn up the global blend a bit to soften the brightness of the grid. Then I'll close the effects panel. The grid will help me with alignment as I build the effect. Now I'll go to the next node and add a linear window around the actor's eyes. Once I've laid it out, I'll add another linear window that'll surround the first. The soft edge borders are very helpful when aligning these windows and achieving a consistent border spacing. Now I'll open the Curves palette. Then I'll drop the highlights all the way down to black out the image. Then I'll go back to the Window palette and combine the windows with this button. With the linear windows in place, I'll change the edge softness to 0 for both of them. Now I have a black border around part of my image. However, this border isn't occluding the image the way I want it to. To fix that, I'll go to the next node and draw another linear window around the border. Once again, changing the edge softness controls to 0 when I'm done. The final step for building this frame effect is to right-click in the node editor and choose Add Alpha Output. Then connect the alpha channel of this node to the new alpha output. With this setup, I'll right-click in the viewer and choose Grab Still. That way I can quickly add this effect to other clips later on. Now I want to animate this frame effect to create a wipe. With the final serial node selected, now I'll move the playhead 6 frames into the clip. Then I'll go to the Tracker palette and make sure the window tracker is in frame mode. Then I'll drop a keyframe by selecting this small diamond button. Then I'll go to the beginning of the clip and move the edge of the linear window to the far side of the frame. Another keyframe should be set automatically. Now I'll move the playhead 6 frames from the end of the clip and set another keyframe in the Tracker palette. Now I'll move the playhead to the end of the clip and drag the other end of the linear window past the edge of the frame. And just like that, the frame effect has been animated into a stylized wipe. With the animation out of the way, I'll go back to the first node and open the Effects panel to turn off the grid. If you need to adjust the framing of the window, you can either adjust all of the windows manually, or you can go to the Sizing palette and go into Node Sizing mode and use the first node to reframe the image inside the windows. I recommend only using Pan and Tilt for node sizing in the first node. Otherwise, subsequent adjustments can get really confusing really fast. To adjust the zoom and position of the effect, I recommend going back to the Edit page and using the transform controls in the inspector. With this effect, you can achieve some interesting comic book or anime style highlights, and even create custom wipe transitions. For more great DaVinci Resolve tutorials, check out rippletraining.com, the #1 resource for DaVinci Resolve certification training.